Neil, you've had a slightly extended break since the game at Borehamwood. Have you been able to put those extra couple of days to good use?
Yeah, we tried. We obviously, everything's liaised with the sports science programme, and we always plan not just a week. We sort of look at a 4-week block, and with the games coming up, whether certain players needed a deload, certain players needed to sort of increase fitness levels. So it's all individualised. But yeah, we've certainly managed to get sort of the work we wanted or the rest we wanted into the right people.
Was it nice in a way having a weekend off?
No, I just Saturdays are boring if you haven't got a game. They really are. So you watch other games. The guys all went out and watch games and stuff. But no, you want to play.
Did someone go and watch Dorking, I suppose, then, to the obvious question?
We didn't go and watch Dorking. We had the game streamed to us, so we've watched them. I've obviously done my homework on the games before, so we've got the footage of everything and watched back. But I'm not sure we'd have learnt too much, because you've always got to beware of a wounded animal.
Yeah, they were beaten 5-0 by Macclesfield in the Cup. Is that how you're treating this game, that they are going to come here trying to make a point? Yeah,
when teams get sort of beaten comfortably or have a really bad result just before my teams play them, I'm always very, very wary of what that's going to bring. So you don't get the same performance twice from a team. So I can assure you, they'll be a lot better against us.
What do you make of them generally then?
It's like anything. I've said this to you before. I really dislike it when I hear people say to me, "You'll be fine. You'll be fine," because I watch a lot of teams at this level, and Dorking are one of them teams. Yes, they've lost against Oldham at home, and they've lost 5-0 against Macclesfield. But on their day, they can beat anybody. They're very, very good at creating overloads. They're very brave. Put a lot of balls in your box. They've got a lot of pace on the flanks, a lot of 1v1 domination, ability to hurt you. They attack you, they run beyond you, and they can be open at times, and you've got to try and exploit that. And whether Mark will carry on with that against us, I don't know. But it's the same with Fylde. I know Fylde are down there, and people think, "Oh, these are two winnable games." No. These are two teams that on their day can beat us. And that's what I'm trying to instill into our boys, that level of consistency, so that anyone that gets anything from us has to earn it, and hopefully we'll get the same tomorrow.
Is that always the concern? Because I think people will look at these next 4 games and say you'd rather be playing these 4 teams than, say, Barnet, Altrincham and Bromley back to back.
Yeah, but then on the flip side, I actually think we've improved and we're capable of giving Barnet and Chesterfield and these teams a game. I really do, and when then time comes, we'll have a plan to go and try and get a result. And so every game has to be treated with respect, and whether Mark's had a bad time of it at Dorking or not over the last few weeks, Dorking can beat anyone. And it just shows they lost to Oxford over Christmas and then put in a really good performance and beat them away. So anyone on any day.
What do you make of Mark? Because whatever you think, he has done an unbelievable job to take that, to start the football club basically and take it to where it is now.
Yeah, listen, I get on well with Mark. Mark's, he used to be a Wimbledon fan, funny enough, but he's done a fantastic job. I find him really refreshing. I find him refreshing for football. He makes my interviews look boring, and they are compared to his. He speaks from the heart. He doesn't pull any punches. I think lots of football fans up and down the country enjoy him. And enjoy the way he does things. And I actually, when I watch the opposition and I do my homework, I actually look and go, I can see everything he's trying to do, and it's brave and it's creative, and when it works, it can punish you, and when it doesn't, you can get a Macclesfield game.
Do you expect to have a bit of banter on the touchline? I know he'll be saying a few things maybe towards the officials, maybe. Would you try and get involved and have a bit of a laugh and a joke, because it's all game at the end of the day?
Yeah, Mark's. I think he focuses on the officials more than he will me, but afterwards, he come and have a beer with you. He's a good guy.
Look at your team then. Are we looking pretty similar to what we were the last time we spoke to you? 9 to 10 days ago?
Yeah, I don't think we've had too much. Everything's been progressive as far as injuries. Obviously, players now, they've had a full week to prove themselves and get back into the swing of things. And we've got Tuesday, Saturday coming up. So, my message to my squad will be, I won't be scared to rotate players. I'm never scared to sort of, for me it's not a winning team, pick the same team. Every game needs something different. You know, if tomorrow I think I can play with 3 forwards, I'll play with 3 forwards. If I think I need to play with 3 midfielders, I'll play with 3 midfielders. I'll pick each game and how I think we can win that game, and the personnel within it. And people have got to accept that they won't necessarily start every game. And you know, even with the players that do start, and I've spoken to them quite often, you know, particularly your forward players, I'd rather have 65 minutes of flat out dynamic play and carry you off myself than I would you jogging around the pitch and not giving it all.
Is that how football's changed though in the last 10 or 15 years? Because of the introduction of more sports science, that you used to always hear, you don't change a winning side. Well, now managers do.
Yeah, it's all about high performance, and it's about different qualities. So, you know, what Dorking will bring in the shape they'll play compared to what Fylde will bring in the shape they'll play. You know, I said when we played Fylde at their place, very, very athletic team, lots of pace, more likely a back 4 compared to a back 3, and everything's got a different dynamic to it, and you have to look at the players that you think will deliver the performance you want. It's no good me going, I'm going to throw 3 forwards on and attacking midfielders and whatever and find ourselves 2-0 down after 20 minutes.
Is anyone not available tomorrow?
No, we're still working on certain players' fitness levels and getting people up to speed and making sure that they're ready for what happens. So you could have a player who's not in the squad tomorrow night that's in the squad on Saturday and such like things like that. So, you know, we've now got, today I had 25 outfield players out on the pitch. Obviously when you do 11v11 you can only have 20 out on the pitch outfield, so that's a hard thing to manage, but we're working at all of that side of things as well.
Yeah, so are you closer to maybe letting some of those players leave permanently on loan and same again to getting one extra body in?
I actually don't think it's a case of us letting them go. I think it's a case of us finding, you know, which we have done, presenting them with moves and the right moves and them making a decision to go and play football. And you know, I'd much rather have someone knocking on my door when they're not in the team saying I need to play, I want to go out, than people not being even in the 11v11 on a Friday or a Monday and accepting it, you know. So that's where we are at the moment.
How active are you or football clubs in general then when they are trying to move players out? How much of a part do you play in that?
Yeah, we play a massive part. I mean, you know, the staff, Coxie, Macca, Stocksy, you know, everyone's working hard behind the scenes to put things in front of players. So is that you going to clubs and saying this guy's available? I mean, there's loads of different ways you do it. You can put a circular out, so everyone gets a circular through. Clubs ring up and say, look, we're looking for these positions, and you put players to them. And there's all sorts of things you can do, but it's like you say, there's agents involved, there's players involved. You know, it's an ongoing sort of circle, but obviously 25 players outfield players is too many, and I've got to pick a 16-man squad, of which the maximum can only be 15 outfield players in that. So yeah, it's my job. Unfortunately, I disappoint people every time a game comes around.
But you do want to improve your squad, so you're any nearer to bringing anyone else in?
We're looking, and again, you know, I'd like to think if you're you guys and the fans looking from the outside, I'd like to think, although everyone wants new signings coming in, I'd like to think you'd see, you know, particularly with the longer term, you know, permanent signings, an element of patience, an element of, is this person right for us, not just for the rest of this season, but going forward, are they going to fit where we want to go? And we've tried to do that, and we will continue to. If it's a loan, you know, you don't have them concerns, but if it's a permanent, it's got to be right.
How hard is that for you? Because you always want better players, it doesn't matter what level of football, you always want more, you always want better. Is there ever that inkling? I know there's not going to be for you this season because of what's gone on in the past, but it must be sort of eating away in the back of your mind saying, I wish we could just get this over the line now.
Yeah, when I was younger in management, there probably was, because you're a little bit less experienced. I think now my job is to make sure I grow this football club alongside the chairman, alongside the staff, and everything we do now. We talked about data analysis, we talked about all that kind of stuff, has got a considered approach, and anyone that comes in this building, I want the fans and you guys to be saying what good signing that is. Not just because you've heard of them, but once they get on the pitch, like a George Sykes Kenworthy, you go, oh wow, you know, what a good keeper he is, and that's what we want. And if we can get them more and more right, then hopefully all of a sudden you look and go, we've actually got a really good squad here.
I don't often talk about support, especially here, but it's going to be bitterly cold tomorrow night. Everyone's going to have to wrap up really warm, aren't they? But again, they can play a big part of these 2 games this week.
Yeah, listen, I think our fans, I would never even call out for them to play a big part, because they haven't given anything less than that. The only time they weren't happy, really not happy, was the Hartlepool game, and rightly so. And I'd like to think we as a team and me have responded in the right way. I don't think we've in the league, certainly we haven't been beat since then, so we've learnt from it, and hopefully then performances are few and far between. But fans have been magnificent, and I'm sure they will be. Let's try and get this season boxed off and try and progress, but make sure we're in this league first.
What do you say then? Because I keep saying every now and then you do say, no, they could make a late push for the playoffs here, City. What do you say to those people? Is that completely unrealistic?
I'm not even looking at that. At the moment, my main priority is 52 points. There's too many good teams around. We're not. Listen, let's be honest. We're not winning enough games, and I'm not going to hide behind. I certainly don't set us up to draw. I've had to go through a process of looking at what we've got, realising the deficiencies, working hard on them, and creating something that can be competitive. And I feel like we've sort of done that. It's not going to always work in a straight line. We know that it's football, but there's some strong teams in this league. And listen, if we got to 50, 55, 60 quickly and went on an unbelievable run, then I might get excited. But at the moment, 52 points, and that's the priority.
Thank you.
Neil, looking back at the Borough and Wood game, that last-minute equaliser, there was so much passion there. You could see the players really, really cared, and that went through to the fans. There seems to be a really good squad mentality there now.
I'd like to think so. We've worked hard on it. There's a really core, good group of lads here who want to do well. My job when I come in is to sort of work out how I go about that, and it never happens overnight. But I feel like I've made us a little bit more competitive, and with that we've increased fitness levels, organisation, stuff like that. But that sort of character and desire is hard to put into people. That's got to be within, and I think we have got a good group. They just needed to what's the word I'm looking for? Probably just get the culture and environment a bit better, which I think we have. And now all of a sudden you get one game right, then the second, then the third. Now you go on a little bit of a run, and now they want to protect that run, and I hope that continues tomorrow night, and they want to stay as unbeaten as they can for as long as they can.
How pleased were you with Billy Chadwick's debut?
Yeah, really good. I actually thought we struggled up top. I thought our ball retention was poor on the day. Caused us a lot of problems in the first half. I thought we raised it a bit second half, but I thought Billy was the shining light with his, the way he drifted with the ball, the way he got into great areas. In the first half he was running with the ball. Even with the little finish he's put just down the side in the first half. It was classy, and the one he had blocked late on. So I think he'll score goals. I think he'll do great, and I think he can play up, off the sides. He can play in a number of positions for us.
There's this word bandied around at the moment, quarterback. It's that role where somebody sits a bit deep and can unlock a defence with a single ball, as well as obviously the patient build up from the back. Have you got somebody you think can do that?
I think the way we have gone about our business in the last 6 weeks, 2 months, I don't think we've necessarily played that way. I mean, when I first come in, I was trying to look if we could, and that's the way I would like to play. I had it at Solihull with Jamie Osborne, or at Notts with Michael Doyle, and they could dictate the play from that position. But at the moment, Woody plays a slightly different role. Woody plays a role where he loves to get around the pitch, break up the play, and set our attacks going more through that and his energy and his tempo than drifting to get on the ball. And obviously, Tyler, we know Tyler can play that role from centre back, but obviously at the moment the team has changed slightly, and the boys have come in, have done a really good job defensively. So you lose a little bit when you haven't got a Dan Batty maybe or a Tyler in the team, but we're enhancing the other qualities.
Looking at tomorrow night, Mark White actually formed Dorking because he got sick of what happened to Wimbledon. Is he good for the game?
Yeah. Breath of fresh air. You guys must love him, honestly. I mean, apart from having to put a few beeps in when the interview comes around, but I spoke to him probably an hour ago on the way back from training. He messaged me Sunday, typical, messaged me on a Sunday morning. I think he's a breath of fresh air. I think the job he's done is remarkable. I live 30 minutes from Dorking back home. My family do. I know it well. I used to actually play for Dorking when I was under 16 at Wimbledon. They did something where they loaned the under 16s out to Dorking and played in a floodlit league. So I actually played for the old Dorking before it was reformed. So I've got a lot of ties there and a lot of people I know, and I want to win tomorrow night, and then I want them to stay up.
Is that the key? Because you've won 2 out of the last 3 at home, you're hard to beat away. Is that the key to getting to 50 points?
We've got to win games. But the thing is, I feel more confident now that, obviously the Ebbs fleet conceded late, and we've had games where we've drawn maybe, the odd game where you think we could have nicked that. I believe we can win away from home as well. I believe now we've added a bit more firepower, a bit more goals. I believe that the players look around the group and go, we've got options both on the bench, we've got options on the pitch. I can ask anyone in that sort of front 4, front 5, whatever it is, to run hard and say, if you're 65 minutes you're burnt out, I've got great options off the bench. And I don't think we've had that for 2 months. Depot was injured, we didn't have Will Davis, we didn't have Billy Chadwick, Lenny was leading the line on his own. We didn't have the ability to do that. So I believe all of these things help the team to go about their business.
You've had a bit of an extended break. Have you played any behind closed doors games at all?
No. Well, actually, yes is the answer to that. On Monday we had a behind the closed doors game last week for some of the boys. Had a good look at everybody, and they've done quite a bit of 11v11 in different forms in training. So yeah, and again it's always a balance. Some players need a little bit of a down week or just not a hard week compared to normal. Others needed an increase, so it's just balancing off all of that.
And how are you balancing this with trying to bring more people in? Are you still working hard at that?
Yeah, we are. I'm not saying we're not, but at the same time we've got 25 players. It's you just keep adding. It's got to be the right player, the right time, the right price, the right deal. Any club needs to be sustainable, and we've got to make sure all them things are in line. I think we've done 3 really good pieces of business, really good. We haven't paid hardly any money for them, financially outlay at first, and they're all on good deals that fall within what we should be at this level. And hopefully that can continue, but if it doesn't happen this week and it happens in 3 weeks, then that's fine, as long as it's the right one.
Good luck for tomorrow.
Neil, it feels like it's been a bit of a mid-season break in last sort of 9-day break. Dorking have played on Saturday, and by tomorrow night they'll have had 2 long journeys. Is that an advantage or a disadvantage?
Well, can I tell you after the game tomorrow? I'd like to think it's an advantage, and I'd like to think our players can press it home as an advantage, but there's been times before where I've had an opposition come to play my team, and they've turned up 20 minutes before the game because their coach broke down or something, and they've gone out and started the game brilliantly, and you think it's a disadvantage. So we've just got to focus on us, our levels of performance, and make sure that if Dorking come and play well, they're going to have to, because our levels are so high, and that's all I can really focus on. I think Dorking have got a lot of good players. A lot of them I work with at Wimbledon, Barry Fuller, George Frankham, Callum Kennedy, Jason Pryor, and they've got lots of good players around that and lots of pace. I'm treating them with the utmost respect. I don't care if Macclesfield beat them. That was a bad day at the office. It happens. I think we will see a different Dorking tomorrow. And I say to our fans, don't get frustrated. It's all about us trying to do the right things to get the result. I know it's an entertainment business, but we're fighting for our lives at the bottom, and we will pay Dorking respect, but we'll also try and hurt their weaknesses.
We've come a long way in the last couple of months. Still a way to go with territorial advantage, a lack of enough possession at some times. Is that fair? Yeah, no.
When I was at my last 2 clubs, my teams were in the top 5 for possession in the league, and I believe that's going forward. That's the best way. But to do that, you start a season, you ingrain the way you want to play, you get the team believing in it, you get them confident, you've got to have the right players to fit the system and the way you want to do it. when I came here, we was too open, conceding too many goals, and I tried to play that way, but we were still conceding too many goals because we turned the ball over too much, because we couldn't control the game. We didn't have the ability as a team at the time, whether it was confidence, momentum, players, to control the games. So I've taken a slightly different approach, which is to make us more resilient, and use the qualities we've got to hurt teams, whether it's on counter-attack or whether it is with possession. There's times that the game dictates you can. So yeah, I do agree with you, but I'm sure at the end of the day the most important thing to every fan is that we're at least in the National League come the end of the season and grow from there.
Billy Chadwick's debut, you must have been pleased with. Early days, a lot to look forward to, particularly as partnerships develop.
Absolutely, and like I say, Billy can play up in a 2. He's played up on his own for Gateshead as the 9. He can play off the left in a 3. He can play in a number of different positions. So, he's already shown me every day in training the quality he has, the class, the vision, the touch, the technical ability. I always find when players come from other clubs that we always feel like they need to get that bit fitter, and I don't know if that's the case with Billy because we haven't had enough time to really see that because he's been playing games, but he's already commented how some of our training sessions were a lot harder than he's been used to. So, that's things that he'll only improve for, I'm sure.
Okay, thank you.
Hi Neil, how are you doing?
Good, thank you.
Thanks for having me. So it's already been touched on, but you've certainly made the team hard to beat. You've been unbeaten in the last 7 in the league. Are you starting to develop the confidence to push teams like Dorking on the front foot and play how you want to play?
I still think I always work on 2 things. I always say to my team, I'm never setting us up to worry about the opposition. So whenever we do work without the ball, work in our shape work, I'm never setting us up to worry about the opposition. But from my experience, when you don't make your team aware of the opposition's strengths and how they're going to go about breaking you down, then you can feel sometimes if they get it wrong like they've got 2 players more than you on the pitch. And I think the game against Hartlepool, which is our worst performance of the season, felt like that because we got so many things wrong. So my job is to make sure that without the ball we're all on the same page and we all know how we're going to go about the game. But then once I've got that message across, it's all about how we can break them down, how we can break them down from at the back, how we can break them down from our forward runs, the partnerships, the overlaps, the underlaps, and all of that kind of stuff. So we do work very hard at our forward play.
And obviously, if Dorking did take the 3 points tomorrow, they would leapfrog you in the table. And with it being January, we're getting to that point in the season where yourself and the players are looking over their shoulder a bit down the table and looking at playing for places.
I don't think it's been looking over. I think we've been looking over the shoulder from the day I arrived. We were bottom of the league, so the only way was up then, and at the moment we've still got to be going up. I try not to get drawn to the league table. I know we can look and go, if we can win this game and if we can beat Fylde, at the end of the day, whatever gets us nearer the 50-point mark, it doesn't really matter to me because not every team can get to 50 points, 52 points down the bottom. So, I'm sure that the history will tell you that if you get to 52 and above, you'll be very, very unlucky to be going down. So that's really the focus. That's really where we are, and whether it's Dorking, Fylde or Chesterfield, we go in with the same attitude. What can we get from this game? How are we going to go about it?
And can you talk to me a bit about Cedric Evina? Is he going to be available for tomorrow's game?
So Cedric's available, and again, he's one that I've got a decision to make on. You've got to remember Finn and Cedric have come back from loans. They've only been training once or twice a week with them loans. So, whereas our boys have been training 4 or 5 times a week. So there's a big difference in that side of things. So I need to make sure, and I've had a chat with Cedric today, that when Cedric is in my 16-man squad or starting or off the bench, I need to make sure that physically he can do what I want. So they're all decisions I've got to make, and obviously these last sort of 8-9 days have been part of that.
And lastly, how excited are you for Billy Chadwick's home debut?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't think of it in any one player. I think Billy's a great player and I think the fans are going to love him going forward. I don't look at him and go, I'm excited for his home debut. I just look at the game and say, how am I going to get a high performance out of all my players? Because if Billy has a great game, brilliant. I'd rather win 1-0 if he didn't have a great game, if that was my option, and win 1-0 and get the 3 points. So it's all about the team. I always say to them constantly, selfless, not selfish. And I think we're starting to grow that attitude compared to the start of the season.